The champagne flute shattered against marble. Lena Foster stood frozen at the altar in her $1,000 wedding dress, mascara streaking down her cheeks as 300 guests whispered behind their hands. The man she'd loved for 3 years had just texted her, 10 minutes before saying, "I do. It's over. I can't do this." But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the woman in the third row, wearing a dress identical to Lena's, smiling like she'd already won. The worst part was Jason's mother, Janet, standing up, her voice cutting through the chapel like a knife. "Did you really think he'd marry you? A girl who doesn't even know who her real parents are?" The crowd erupted. Cameras flashed. Lena's world collapsed. And then, a stranger's voice, deep and commanding, silenced them all. "I'll marry her." Everyone turned. A man in a charcoal suit stepped forward from the back of the chapel, his dark eyes fixed on Lena like she was the only person in the room. "Marry me," he said, "or let them keep laughing at you." 6 hours before everything fell apart, Lena Foster was the happiest woman. She stood in front of the mirror in the bridal suite, adjusting her veil for the 100th time. 26 years old, a pediatric surgeon at Mercy General Hospital, engaged to Jason Clark, heir to the Clark pharmaceutical fortune. Her adoptive father, Samuel Foster, had spared no expense. The chapel was draped in white roses and crystal. The guest list read like a who's who of the city's elite. Everything was perfect, except for the text message that arrived at 9:47 a.m. "Can we talk? Before the ceremony? Please. Lena's heart fluttered with pre-wedding nerves. Jason was probably just anxious. She texted back, "See you at the altar, love. Just a few more hours." His response was immediate. "Lena, I'm sorry." Her phone rang. She answered, laughing. "Jason, you're supposed to be getting ready." "I can't marry you." The words hit like a physical blow. Lena gripped the edge of the vanity. "What?" "I never should have proposed. I thought I could do it, but I can't. I'm in love with someone else." "Someone else?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Who?" A pause. Then, "Kayla. You wouldn't understand. We have history." Kayla Rivers. The champagne flute shattered against marble. Lena Foster stood frozen at the altar in her $1,000 wedding dress, mascara streaking down her cheeks as 300 guests whispered behind their hands. The man she'd loved for 3 years had just texted her 10 minutes before saying, "I do. It's over. I can't do this." But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the woman in the third row, wearing a dress identical to Lena's, smiling like she'd already won. The worst part was Jason's mother, Janet, standing up, her voice cutting through the chapel like a knife. "Did you really think he'd marry you? A girl who doesn't even know who her real parents are?" The crowd erupted. Cameras flashed. Lena's world collapsed. And then, a stranger's voice, deep and commanding, silenced them all. "I'll marry her." Everyone turned. A man in a charcoal suit stepped forward from the back of the chapel, his dark eyes fixed on Lena like she was the only person in the room. "Marry me," he said, "or let them keep laughing at you." 6 hours before everything fell apart, Lena Foster was the happiest woman. She stood in front of the mirror in the bridal suite, adjusting her veil for the 100th time. 26 years old, a pediatric surgeon at Mercy General Hospital, engaged to Jason Clark, heir to the Clark pharmaceutical fortune. Her adoptive father, Samuel Foster, had spared no expense. The chapel was draped in white roses and crystal. The guest list read like a who's who of the city's elite. Everything was perfect, except for the text message that arrived at 9:47 a.m. "Can we talk? Before the ceremony? Please. Lena's heart fluttered with pre-wedding nerves. Jason was probably just anxious. She texted back, "See you at the altar, love. Just a few more hours." His response was immediate. "Lena, I'm sorry." Her phone rang. She answered, laughing. "Jason, you're supposed to be getting ready." "I can't marry you." The words hit like a physical blow. Lena gripped the edge of the vanity. "What?" "I never should have proposed. I thought I could do it, but I can't. I'm in love with someone else. Someone else? Her voice was barely a whisper. Who? A pause. Then, Kayla. You wouldn't understand. We have history. Kayla Rivers. Jason's so-called childhood friend who'd returned from overseas 3 months ago. The woman who'd been at every dinner, every party, every family gathering, watching Lena with those strange, knowing eyes. Jason, the guests are already here. My father, your mother.
I'm sorry, Lena.
I really am. But this is better than lying to you for the rest of our lives. The line went dead. Lena stared at her reflection. The perfect dress. The perfect makeup. The perfect fraud. A knock at the door. Her maid of honor, Jessica, peeked in. Lena? Sweetie, are you? Oh my God, what happened? Lena couldn't speak. She handed Jessica the phone with Jason's messages still on the screen. Jessica's face went white. That bastard. That absolute. Lena, we need to cancel. We need to tell everyone.
No.
Lena's voice was ice. I'm going out there.
What?
You can't. I'm going to that altar, Lena said, steel in her voice. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man Jason Clark is. The chapel fell silent when Lena appeared. She walked down the aisle alone, her father nowhere to be seen. Every eye tracked her movement. The whispers started before she reached the front. Where's the groom? Did he leave? I heard something about another woman. Lena reached the empty altar. The priest looked horrified. Miss Foster, perhaps we should. Ladies and gentlemen. Lena's voice rang out, clear and cold. I want to thank you all for coming today. Unfortunately, the groom has decided he's in love with someone else.
Gasps.
Shocked murmurs. And then laughter. Cruel, cutting laughter from the back rows. That's when Janet Madison stood up. Jason's mother was a tall, elegant woman with ice blonde hair and a smile like a blade. She'd never liked Lena, and she'd never bothered to hide it. Well, Janet announced, her voice dripping with false sympathy, I suppose we should have seen this coming. After all, Lena isn't even Samuel Foster's real daughter, is she? Just some orphan they took pity on. A charity case playing dress-up in our world. The chapel erupted. Cameras flashed. Someone started filming on their phone. Lena's adoptive father, Samuel, stood up from the front row, his face red. Janet, that's enough. Is it? Janet turned to the crowd. Did you all know that Lena was switched at birth? That her real family is probably serving drinks somewhere while she pretends to be one of us? My son deserves better than. Your son is a coward. The voice cut through the chaos like a thunderclap. Everyone turned. A man stepped out from the shadows at the back of the chapel. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair swept back and eyes the color of storm clouds. He wore a charcoal three-piece suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. His presence commanded the room instantly. He walked down the aisle with the confidence of a king, and when he reached Lena, he extended his hand. Cole Madison, he said, his voice low and intimate, meant only for her. And I'd like to make you an offer. Lena stared at him. She'd never seen this man before in her life.
Who are you?
Someone who doesn't leave women at the altar. His eyes held hers. Marry me, right here, right now. Or walk out of here alone while they all laugh. You're insane, Lena breathed. Possibly. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. But I'm also serious. Marry me, Lena Foster. Give them something to really talk about. Janet's voice shrieked from the crowd. Cole. What the hell do you think you're? He didn't even look at her. His eyes stayed locked on Lena. And in that moment, Lena made the most impulsive decision of her life. Yes. The priest sputtered. The guests went wild. Janet Madison looked like she might faint. But Cole Madison simply took Lena's hand and turned to the priest. You heard the lady. Shall we begin? This is highly irregular. I don't even know if. Cole pulled out his phone, made a single call, and within 3 minutes, a judge had appeared at the chapel doors with a marriage license. Let's make this official, Cole said. The ceremony was a blur. Lena heard herself repeating vows to a complete stranger. She felt his warm hands as he slid a simple platinum band onto her finger. Where did he even get that? When the judge pronounced them husband and wife, Cole leaned in and whispered in her ear, "Play along. Trust me for 1 hour. After that, you can walk away if you want to." Then he kissed her. It was brief, chaste, appropriate for a public setting. But Lena felt electricity shoot down her spine, and when they pulled apart, she saw something flicker in Cole's eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or recognition. The guests erupted in chaos. Some were applauding. Others were shouting questions. Janet Madison had disappeared. Cole kept his arm around Lena's waist and guided her down the aisle, past the staring faces, past her shocked father, past Jessica, who mouthed, "What the hell?" and out into the rain. A black Bentley waited at the curb. Cole opened the door for her. "Get in. Unless you'd rather go back and explain this to 300 people.
Lena got in.
As the car pulled away from the chapel, she finally found her voice. "Who are you? Really?" Cole settled into the seat beside her, loosening his tie. "Cole Madison, CEO of Madison Enterprises. And as of 10 minutes ago, your husband." "Why did you do that?" He was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the rain-slicked streets. "Because I know what it's like to be humiliated in front of everyone who matters. And because someone should have stepped up for you." "You don't even know me." "No," he agreed. "But I know Jason. He's my nephew." Lena's head snapped toward him. "What?" "Janet Madison is my sister. Jason is her son. Which makes me, technically, your uncle-in-law." His mouth twisted in a humorless smile. "Family reunions are going to be interesting." Lena's mind reeled. "You married me to get back at your sister?" "I married you because you deserved better than what you got today." Cole's eyes met hers. "And because maybe I'm tired of watching my family destroy good people." The car pulled up to a towering high-rise in the financial district. Cole's building, Lena realized. The headquarters of Madison Enterprises. "Come on," Cole said, opening the door. "Let's get you out of that dress and figure out what happens next." Cole's penthouse occupied the entire top floor of the building. Lena stood in the foyer, still in her wedding dress, staring at the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city. The space was all clean lines and dark wood, modern but somehow warm. Not what she expected from a man who'd just crashed her wedding. Cole disappeared into another room and returned with a t-shirt and sweatpants. "Bathrooms down the hall. Take your time." When Lena emerged 20 minutes later, scrubbed clean of makeup and dressed in Cole's clothes, she found him on the couch with 2 glasses of whiskey. He handed her one. "You look better." "I look like I'm wearing a tent." "You look like you can breathe." He took a sip.
"So,
"Questions?" "About 1,000. Lena sat down, keeping careful distance between them. "Let's start with, what the hell was that?" Cole leaned back, studying her. "What do you know about the Madison family?" "Only what I've seen in the news. Your grandfather Joel founded Madison Enterprises 60 years ago. Commercial real estate, tech investments, pharmaceuticals. It was worth about $8 billion last I checked. $9 billion, actually. But who's counting?" Cole's smile didn't reach his eyes. "What you don't know is that my father was supposed to inherit everything."
David Madison, Joël Soldeste son.
Brilliant businessman.
Kintman.
My mother Rebecca was his wife. They died in a car accident 20 years ago.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. It wasn't an accident. Cole's voice went cold. My sister Janet sabotaged the car. She wanted the inheritance. Wanted control of the company. When our parents died, she nearly got it, until my grandfather refused to give her anything. Lena's eyes widened. He knew. He suspected. Couldn't prove it. But he knew his daughter well enough to cut her out of the will completely. Left everything to me instead. I was 6 years old at the time. That's why she hates you. That's why she's spent the last 20 years trying to destroy me. Cole finished his whiskey. She married Richard Clark, Jason's father, thinking the Clark fortune would compensate for what she lost. Raised Jason to be her perfect little puppet. And now she's grooming him to take over Clark Pharmaceuticals while she waits for my grandfather to die so she can contest the will. Lena set down her glass. So marrying me complicates her plans enormously. Cole smiled, and this time it was genuine. See, my grandfather's been after me for years to get married. Settle down. Produce an heir. I've always refused. But now that I'm married, I'm the dutiful grandson. And Janet? She's the woman whose son left his bride at the altar. You should have seen her face. This is revenge. This is justice. Cole leaned forward. But here's the thing, Lena. I meant what I said at chapel. You can walk away. We'll annul the marriage, blame it on temporary insanity, and you never have to see me again. Or you stay. Play the part of my wife. Live in this penthouse. I'll give you anything you want, credit cards, cars, a new position at any hospital in the city. In return, you attend events with me. Smile for cameras. Make my family believe this is real. For how long? 1 year. After that, we divorce, quietly. You leave with enough money to start over anywhere you want. Lena stared at him. It was insane. Ridiculous. A fake marriage to a stranger. And yet, what about Jason? She heard herself ask. Cole's expression darkened. What about him? He'll try to come back. To apologize. To humiliate you again? Cole shook his head. Not while you're my wife. Trust me, Lena. Jason won't touch you. Something in his voice made her believe him. Okay, Lena said quietly. 1 year. But I have conditions. Name them. I keep my job at Mercy General. I'm not some kept woman. And we have separate bedrooms. This is a business arrangement, nothing more. Cole extended his hand. Deal. When their hands touched, Lena felt that electricity again. Dangerous. Thrilling. She pulled away quickly. Welcome to the family, Mrs. Madison, Cole said softly. I promise you won't regret this. But as Lena lay in bed that night in Cole's guest room, staring at the ceiling, she wondered if she already did. Lena woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of her phone exploding with notifications. 127 missed calls. 342 text messages. 67 voicemails. She scrolled through them with growing horror. Her father Samuel. Jessica. Colleagues from the hospital. Unknown numbers. And Jason. Jason had called 23 times. The voicemails ranged from concerned, honey, what happened? To furious, have you lost your mind? To cruel, you really think Cole Madison wants you for anything but revenge? Lena deleted them all. She found Cole in the kitchen, wearing a dark suit, reading the financial news on his tablet. He looked up when she entered. Coffee, please. Lena slid onto a bar stool. We're all over social media. I know. My publicist has been calling since 6 a.m. Cole poured her a cup. The official story is that we've been secretly dating for months. Jason found out, couldn't handle it and ran. You and I decided to make things official on what was supposed to be your wedding day. Very romantic. Very scandalous. No one will believe that. They will when we sell it. He set the coffee before her. There's a charity gala tonight. The mayor, senators, half the city's elite. We're going together. I'll introduce you as my wife. We'll dance. We'll look madly in love, and by tomorrow, everyone will be talking about us instead of Jason. I don't have anything to wear to a gala. Cole smiled. Already handled. Designers coming at noon with options. Hair and makeup at 4. You've thought of everything. That's my job. He checked his watch. I have meetings all day. Make yourself at home. The kitchen's stocked. There's a gym on the roof. Pool. Library. Whatever you need. Cole. He paused at the door, looking back. Thank you, Lena said quietly. For yesterday. Whatever your reasons, you saved me from the worst moment of my life. Something softened in Cole's expression. You saved yourself, Lena. I just gave you an option. After he left, Lena spent the morning exploring the penthouse. It was massive, 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, an office, a media room. But it felt empty. like a beautiful shell with no soul. She found herself in Cole's study, looking at the photos on his desk. A young Cole with an older couple, his parents, she guessed. Cole shakes hands with his grandfather, a distinguished man with white hair and sharp eyes. And one photo that made her stop. A little boy in a hospital bed, maybe 7 years old, hooked up to IVs. He was smiling despite how sick he looked. And standing next to him was a young girl, maybe 10, holding a sunflower. Lena's hand trembled as she picked up the frame. She knew that little boy. That was a long time ago. Lena spun around. Cole stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. "I remember you," Lena whispered. "St. Mary's Children's Hospital. 20 years ago. You had pneumonia. I was there visiting kids as part of my father's charity work. I gave you a sunflower from the garden." Cole walked into the room slowly. "You told me to grow toward the light. That everything would be okay. You remember." "I remember everything about that day." He took the photo from her hands. "I was supposed to go on a family trip. My parents were taking me to the coast for my birthday. But I got sick and they postponed it. They died on the rescheduled trip 3 weeks later." Lena's heart broke. "Cole, you saved my life, Lena. If I'd been in that car, I would have died with them." He set the photo down carefully. "So when I saw you yesterday, standing at that altar, about to be destroyed by my family like they destroyed everyone else, I couldn't walk away. Do you understand? I owe you."
You don't owe me anything.
"I was just a kid. You were kind." Cole's eyes met hers. "In a family like mine, that's rare. So no, this isn't just revenge. This is me finally paying back a debt I've carried for 20 years. Before Lena could respond, Cole's phone rang. He answered, his expression changing.
When?
"I'll be right there." He hung up and grabbed his keys. "That was the hospital. My grandfather collapsed. I need to go." "I'm coming with you." Cole looked surprised. "I'm your wife, remember?" Lena said. "Besides, I'm a doctor. Maybe I can help." Joel Madison lay in a private suite at St. Vincent's Hospital, hooked up to monitors and oxygen. At 84, he was still a formidable presence, tall, white-haired, with eyes that missed nothing despite his weakened state. When Cole and Lena entered, those eyes fixed on her immediately. "So," Joel said, his voice raspy but strong, "this is the girl who caught my grandson." Cole moved to his bedside. "Grandpa, don't talk. Save your strength." "I'm not dead yet, boy." Joel waved him off and studied Lena. "Come here, girl. Let me look at you." Lena approached nervously. Joel's gaze was penetrating, assessing, weighing her worth in seconds. "You're Samuel Foster's adopted daughter." "Yes, sir. And you were supposed to marry my idiot great-nephew Jason. That was the plan. But you married my grandson instead. In front of 300 people. Without a prenup." Joel's eyes gleamed. "Either you're very clever or very stupid.
Which is it?"
Lena met his gaze steadily. "I'm a doctor, Mr. Madison. I spent 4 years in medical school and 3 years in residency. I work 70-hour weeks saving children's lives. I don't need Cole's money, and I don't want his empire. I married him because he offered me a way out of the worst day of my life. Does that make me clever or stupid?" Silence. Then Joel started laughing, a deep, wheezing laugh that made the monitors beep in alarm. "I like her," he told Cole. "She's got a spine. Unlike the society vultures you usually date." "Grandpa." "Don't grandpa me. I know a contract marriage when I see one." Joel's expression turned serious. "But here's what you need to know, girl. Cole's sister Janet will come after you. She destroyed my son and his wife to get to the family fortune. She spent 20 years trying to ruin Cole. And now that he's married, she'll see you as a threat. I'm not afraid of Janet. You should be." Joel's hand gripped hers with surprising strength. "She's the kind of woman who smiles while she sharpens the knife. Watch your back." A doctor entered, frowning at the monitors. "Mr. Madison, you need to rest." "Visitors should." "I'm a doctor," Lena interrupted. "Dr. Lena Foster. Can I see his charts?" The doctor hesitated, then handed them over. Lena reviewed them quickly, her trained eye catching details others might miss. "You changed his blood pressure medication last week," she said. "Yes, the previous dosage wasn't effective. It's interacting with his heart medication. That's what caused the collapse. You need to switch him back and adjust the dosage on the cardiac meds instead." The doctor looked offended. "I don't think." "She's right," Joel said firmly. "Do what she says." As the doctor left to make the changes, Joel smiled at Lena. "A pretty face and a smart brain. Cole, you might want to make this marriage real." Cole's jaw tightened. "Grandpa." "I mean it. This one's different." Joel closed his eyes tiredly. "Don't screw it up like you do everything else." Outside the hospital, Cole was quiet as they walked to the car. "Your grandfather is intense," Lena finally said. "He's dying." Cole's voice was flat. "The doctors give him 6 months, maybe less. Heart failure." "I'm sorry." "He's the only real family I have left." Cole opened her door. "Everyone else is just." He trailed off. "I understand." And Lena did. Her adoptive father had made it clear he was done with her after yesterday's embarrassment. Her biological family was a mystery. She and Cole had that in common. They were both alone. "The gala," Cole said as they drove. "Are you still up for it?" Lena thought about Janet. About Jason. About everyone who'd laughed at her yesterday. "Absolutely. Let's give them a show." Cole smiled, a real smile, the first she'd seen. "That's my girl." The words shouldn't have made her heart skip, but they did. Lena stared at her reflection in disbelief. The designer had worked magic. The midnight blue gown hugged her curves like water, the backless design both elegant and daring. Her hair was swept up in a sophisticated twist, diamond earrings, borrowed from Cole's collection, catching the light. "You look beautiful." Cole stood in the doorway, devastating in a black tuxedo. For a moment, they just stared at each other. "We look the part," Lena managed. "We look like us." Cole offered his arm. "Ready to face the wolves?" The gala was at the Grand Metropolitan Hotel, the ballroom glittering with chandeliers and champagne. Every important person in the city was there, and every eye turned when Cole and Lena entered. The whispers started immediately. Cole kept his hand on the small of Lena's bare back, guiding her through the crowd. They moved like they'd been together for years, not days. "Cole Madison," a senator called out. "Is it true? You're married?" "Happily." Cole pulled Lena closer. "Senator, may I introduce my wife, Dr. Lena Madison." The senator's eyebrows rose. "The doctor? How wonderful. Tell me, how did you two meet?" Lena smiled. "He swept me off my feet." "Quite literally," Cole added with perfect timing, and the crowd laughed. They worked the room expertly, Cole introducing her to business partners and politicians, Lena charming them with intelligence and wit. Several people asked about Jason, but Cole deflected smoothly each time. Then they saw him. Jason stood by the bar, drinking heavily, his eyes locked on Lena with an expression somewhere between regret and rage. Beside him was Kayla Rivers, the other woman. She wore a red dress that screamed for attention, her arm possessively through Jason's. But there was something about Kayla that made Lena stop. Something familiar in her face, in the shape of her eyes. "Dance with me," Cole murmured in Lena's ear. He led her onto the dance floor, pulling her into his arms as a slow waltz began. They moved together perfectly, like they'd been dancing their whole lives. "Don't look at him," Cole said softly. "Look at me." Lena obeyed. Up close, Cole's eyes were storm gray with flecks of blue. There was a scar at his temple she'd never noticed before. "You're a good dancer," she said. "My mother taught me, before she died." His hand tightened on her waist. She said a man who couldn't dance properly couldn't be trusted. Was she right? "I don't know. Can you trust me, Lena?" She should have said no. Should have kept this professional, transactional. But looking into his eyes, she felt something shift. "I'm starting to." Cole's expression changed. He leaned in slightly, and for a moment Lena thought he might kiss her. Really kiss her. Not for show, but because he wanted to. "Cole Madison." The The voice was ice. Janet Madison stood at the edge of the dance floor, resplendent in silver, her smile absolutely venomous. "Hello, sister," Cole said, not letting go of Lena. "We need to talk. Family business. Anything you need to say, you can say in front of my wife." Janet's eyes flickered to Lena. "Your wife. How impulsive of you." Actually, it was quite calculated. Cole smiled. "Grandfather approves, by the way. Sends his regards." Janet's composure cracked slightly. "I heard about his collapse. I'll be visiting him tomorrow. I'm sure he can't wait." The tension between them was palpable. Lena felt like she was watching two predators circle each other. "You know," Janet said conversationally, "I did some research on your bride. Fascinating story. Switched at birth, apparently, which means somewhere out there is her real family. Her real identity." She turned to Lena. "Don't you want to know who you really are, dear? Where you really come from?" "I know who I am," Lena said quietly. "I'm a doctor. And I'm Cole's wife. For now." Janet's smile was razor-sharp. But marriages can be so fragile, especially ones built on lies. She walked away, leaving a chill in her wake. "She knows," Lena whispered, "about our arrangement. She suspects. She doesn't know." Cole pulled Lena closer. "And even if she did, it doesn't matter. We're married legally. That's all that counts." But as they continued dancing, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that Janet had just declared war. The attacks started subtly. First, there were whispers at the hospital about Lena's gold digger marriage. Then articles and gossip blogs questioning Cole's sudden wedding. Photos of Jason looking devastated, with quotes from close friends saying Lena had been secretly seeing Cole for months before the wedding. But the real blow came 2 weeks later. Lena was at Mercy General, finishing her rounds, when her supervisor called her into his office. "Dr. Foster, or should I say, Dr. Madison?" Dr. Harrison said coolly. "We need to discuss your position here." Lena's stomach dropped. "Is there a problem?" "Several board members have expressed concern about potential conflicts of interest. Your husband's company has investments in medical research. There are questions about whether your judgment might be compromised." "That's ridiculous. I've never." "It doesn't matter if it's true. It matters that people are questioning it." Harrison sighed. "I'm going to have to place you on administrative leave, pending a review." "You're suspending me? For getting married?" "I'm protecting the hospital's reputation."
I'm sorry, Lena.
"But until this blows over, I need you to step back." Lena left the hospital in a daze. She'd worked so hard for her career. 4 years of medical school, 3 years of residency, 2 years as an attending physician. And Janet Madison had destroyed it with a few well-placed phone calls. She was halfway home when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Dr. Foster? This is Catherine Kim from Heritage DNA Services. You submitted a sample for ancestry testing about 3 months ago."
Lena had forgotten about that.
She'd sent it in on a whim, curious about her biological family after learning about being switched at birth. "Yes, I remember. We've completed your analysis, and there's something unusual. You have a genetic match in our system, a close relative. A twin, actually." Lena's world tilted. "A twin?"
"Yes."
"And according to our records, she registered her sample 2 months ago. Her name is Kayla Rivers." The penthouse was dark when Lena arrived. She stood in the middle of the living room, still holding her phone, trying to process what she'd just learned. Kayla Rivers was her twin sister. The woman Jason left her for was her biological twin. "Lena?" Cole emerged from his office, concern on his face. "What happened?" "I got a call from the hospital. She's my sister." Lena's voice was hollow.
"Kayla."
"The woman Jason left me for. We're twins." Cole went very still. "What?" Lena explained about the DNA test, the results. Cole listened in silence, his expression growing darker. "This wasn't coincidence," he said finally. "Janet arranged this. She found your biological family, brought Kayla here, introduced her to Jason." "But why? What does she gain?" "Chaos." Cole started pacing. Think about it. You marry Jason, you're absorbed into the family as an outsider. Easy to control. But if your biological twin shows up, someone with an actual claim to the family you were supposed to be born into, someone Janet can manipulate, it's perfect. She destroys your reputation, gets Jason married to someone she controls, and you're left with nothing. Except I married you instead. Except you married me instead. Cole stopped in front of her, which means Janet's plan is falling apart. And desperate people make mistakes. Cole. Lena's voice shook. They took my job. They're destroying everything I worked for. What if? They won't win. Cole gripped her shoulders gently. I promise you, Lena, we're going to expose Janet. We're going to get your job back. And we're going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Lena looked up at him. Why are you doing this? Really? This has gone way beyond paying back a debt. Cole was quiet for a long moment. Then, because somewhere along the way, this stopped being fake for me. The admission hung between them, electric and dangerous. Cole. He stepped back quickly. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we start fighting back. Lena requested a meeting with Kayla at a neutral location, a cafe downtown. Her twin arrived 15 minutes late, wearing designer clothes that probably cost more than Lena's monthly salary used to be. Up close, the resemblance was striking. Same eyes, same bone structure, same hair color. But where Lena's expression held warmth and compassion earned through years of helping others, the penthouse was dark when Lena arrived. She stood in the middle of the living room, still holding her phone, trying to process what she'd just learned. Kayla Rivers was her twin sister. The woman Jason left her for was her biological twin. Lena? Cole emerged from his office, concern on his face. What happened? I got a call from the hospital. She's my sister. Lena's voice was hollow.
Kayla.
The woman Jason left me for. We're twins. Cole went very still. What? Lena explained about the DNA test, the results. Cole listened in silence, his expression growing darker. This wasn't coincidence, he said finally. Janet arranged this. She found her biological family, brought Kayla here, introduced her to Jason. But why? What does she gain? Chaos. Cole started pacing. Think about it. You marry Jason, you're absorbed into the family as an outsider. Easy to control. But if your biological twin shows up, someone with an actual claim to the family you were supposed to be born into, someone Janet can manipulate, it's perfect. She destroys your reputation, gets Jason married to someone she controls, and you're left with nothing. Except I married you instead. Except you married me instead. Cole stopped in front of her, which means Janet's plan is falling apart. And desperate people make mistakes. Cole. Lena's voice shook. They took my job. They're destroying everything I worked for. What if? They won't win. Cole gripped her shoulders gently. I promise you, Lena, we're going to expose Janet. We're going to get your job back. And we're going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Lena looked up at him. Why are you doing this? Really? This has gone way beyond paying back a debt. Cole was quiet for a long moment. Then, because somewhere along the way, this stopped being fake for me. The admission hung between them, electric and dangerous. Cole. He stepped back quickly. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we start fighting back. Lena requested a meeting with Kayla at a neutral location, a cafe downtown. Her twin arrived 15 minutes late, wearing designer clothes that probably cost more than Lena's monthly salary used to be. Up close, the resemblance was striking. Same eyes, same bone structure, same hair color. But where Lena's expression held warmth and compassion earned through years of helping others, Kayla's was cold calculation. So, Kayla said, sitting down without ordering anything. You wanted to talk? You knew, Lena said quietly. Didn't you? That we were twins. Kayla's smile was sharp. I've known for 6 months. Janet Madison hired a private investigator to find me. Told me all about my biological family, about how I was supposed to be raised in wealth but was switched with you at birth. Quite a story, isn't it? And you decided to steal my fiancé? I decided to take what should have been mine. Kayla leaned forward. You got the life I was supposed to have. The rich parents, the medical degree, the perfect future. Meanwhile, a single mother working 3 jobs just to survive raised me. So, when Janet offered me a chance to have what you've been given, of course I took it. Jason is a person, not a possession. Kayla laughed. Jason is weak. He fell for me the moment Janet introduced us. All I had to do was play the role of his childhood friend, remind him of who he used to be before you try to turn him into someone respectable. He never loved you, Lena. He loved the idea of you, the respectable doctor wife who'd make him look good. The words hurt, but Lena kept her composure. What does Janet get out of this? That's between her and me. Kayla stood up. But here's what you need to know. You don't belong in that world. You never did. You're playing house with Cole Madison, but he'll get bored eventually. Rich men always do. And when he does, you'll have nothing. At least I know where I stand. You're wrong about one thing, Lena said.
I do belong.
Not because of money or family names, but because I earn my place through my own work. Something you've never done. Kayla's face twisted with anger. Enjoy your victory lap while it lasts. But trust me, this isn't over. She walked out, leaving Lena alone with her coffee and a growing sense of dread. Cole hired a private investigator, the best in the business, to dig into Janet's past. What they found was damning. Victor Hayes, the investigator, spread photographs across Cole's desk. Your suspicions were correct. 20 years ago, Janet Madison hired a mechanic named Thomas Burke to tamper with your parents' car. Burke was paid $50,000 cash, given a new identity, and relocated to Arizona. Cole stared at the photos. His hands trembled slightly. You found him. I found his daughter. Burke died 3 years ago, but before he did, he told her everything. She's willing to testify. She has documents, bank records, even a recorded deathbed confession where Burke admitted what he did. Lena, sitting beside Cole, watched his expression. Pain, rage, grief, all of it flickering across his face. There's more, Victor continued. Janet has been embezzling from the Clark Pharmaceutical accounts. Small amounts over years, but it adds up to about $8 million. She's been funneling it into offshore accounts. How do we prove it?
Cole asked.
The company auditor, Malcolm Chen. He's known for months, but Janet's been blackmailing him. His son got arrested for drug possession last year. Janet made it go away in exchange for his silence. But if we offer him immunity, he'll talk. Cole stood, pacing to the window. Outside, the city glittered in the darkness. We'll go public at the shareholders' meeting next month, he said finally. In front of the entire board, all the investors, the press. We expose everything. The murder, the embezzlement, all of it. Cole, Lena said gently. She's still your sister. She stopped being my sister the day she killed our parents. His voice was cold, final. It's time she faced consequences. The night before the shareholders' meeting, Jason appeared at the penthouse. Cole was working late at the office, and Lena was alone when the doorbell rang. She checked the security camera and froze. Jason stood in the hallway, swaying slightly.
Drunk.
Lena, his voice came through the intercom.
Please.
I need to talk to you. Every instinct told her not to open the door. But a part of her, the part that had loved him once, needed closure. She opened the door but left the chain on. What do you want, Jason? Up close, he looked terrible. Unshaven, red-eyed, his expensive suit rumpled. I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. Yes, you did. I love you. I never stopped loving you. Kayla, she's not you. She's nothing like you. I was confused, and my mother was in my ear constantly, and you were weak, Lena finished. You let your mother manipulate you into humiliating me in front of everyone we knew. You chose Kayla over me without even having the courage to tell me to my face.
I'm sorry.
Jason's voice broke. I'm so sorry. Leave Cole. Come back to me. We can start over. I'll do better, I promise.
No.
What? No, Jason. I won't leave Cole. I won't come back to you. Because I finally understand something. Lena met his eyes steadily. You never deserved me. And I never needed you to be complete. You're in love with him. Jason's expression turned ugly. My uncle. That's sick, Lena. He's using you to get back at my mother. Maybe he was at first, Lena said. But what we have now, it's real. It's honest. It's everything you and I never were. He'll destroy you. He destroys everyone.
No, Jason.
Your mother destroys everyone. And tomorrow, we're going to stop her. Jason's face went pale. What are you talking about? But Lena had already closed the door. She called Cole immediately. Jason was here. He knows something's happening tomorrow. Let him know.
Cole's voice was calm.
Let him run to his mother. It won't matter. We have everything we need. Cole. Lena hesitated. What I said to Jason. About us being real. I meant it. Silence on the other end. Then, I know. I'll be home in an hour. The Madison Enterprises boardroom was packed. Shareholders, board members, journalists, everyone who mattered in the business world had come to the annual meeting. Janet sat in the front row, perfectly composed, Kayla beside her wearing a demure suit. Jason sat on Janet's other side, looking nervous. Cole stood at the head of the table, Lena at his side. Behind them, a screen displayed the company logo. Good morning, Cole began. Before we discuss quarterly earnings, there's something the board needs to see. He nodded to Victor Hayes, who stood at the back of the room. The screen changed. Bank records appeared. Highlighted transactions showing years of embezzlement. Janet's composure cracked. What is this? This is proof that you've been stealing from Clark Pharmaceuticals for the past 5 years, Cole said calmly. $8 million to be exact. Funneled into offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Gasps around the room. Jason stared at his mother in shock. That's absurd, Janet said, her voice sharp. I don't know where you got those documents, but they're clearly fabricated. Malcolm Chen, the company auditor, has already testified to the FBI. Cole's eyes were ice. He has copies of everything. The audit trail is clear. This is a setup, Janet hissed. You're manufacturing evidence because you want to destroy me. The way you destroyed my parents? The room went silent. Cole pressed a button. The screen changed again. This time, it showed a photograph of Thomas Burke. 20 years ago, this man tampered with my parents' car on your orders, Cole said, his voice steady despite the emotion Lena could see in his eyes. You paid him $50,000 to commit murder so you could inherit the Madison fortune. That's a lie. Janet was on her feet now. You have no proof. I have his daughter's testimony. I have his deathbed confession, recorded and notarized. I have bank records showing the payment from your account to his. And I have the mechanic's original work order, which he kept as insurance in case you ever tried to silence him. Cole looked directly at his sister. You killed our parents, Janet. And you've spent 20 years trying to finish what you started by destroying me. But it's over. Janet's face was white with rage. You ungrateful, after everything I've done, everything I've sacrificed. You sacrificed nothing. Cole's voice cut like a blade. You murdered 2 innocent people for money. You raised your son to be your puppet. You manipulated a young woman. He gestured to Kayla, by exploiting her pain and using her against her own twin sister. You destroyed lives without a second thought. And now you're going to pay for it. Security guards entered the room. Behind them, 2 FBI agents. Janet Madison, one agent said, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, embezzlement, fraud, and obstruction of justice. As they handcuffed her, Janet's mask finally shattered. She looked at Cole with pure hatred. You'll regret this. All of you. I'll destroy you from prison, if I have to. You have no power anymore, Cole said quietly. You never did. You just convinced everyone you did. As they led Janet away, Jason sat frozen in a seat. Kayla had disappeared, probably fleeing before questions could be asked about her role in Janet's schemes. The room erupted in chaos. Reporters shouting questions, board members demanding explanations. But Cole ignored them all. He turned to Lena and pulled her into his arms. "It's over," he whispered. "It's finally over." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Janet was denied bail, facing multiple life sentences. The evidence was overwhelming. Jason quietly resigned from Clark Pharmaceuticals and left the city. Some said he went to Europe to escape the scandal. Kayla Rivers disappeared completely. Lena never heard from her twin again, though she often wondered what might have been if they'd met under different circumstances. The hospital board apologized to Lena and offered her position back with a promotion. She accepted, returning to work with her head held high. Samuel Foster reached out, asking to meet. Lena agreed, though the conversation was painful. He apologized for abandoning her, claimed his business partners who feared association with scandal pressured him. Lena listened, then told him politely that he was no longer her father in any way that mattered. Cole's grandfather Joel, meanwhile, grew stronger. The scandal seemed to revitalize him. "Justice," he told Cole, "is better medicine than anything those doctors can give me." But the biggest change was between Cole and Lena. The contract marriage was to last a year. They were 3 months in when Cole asked her to dinner at an exclusive restaurant overlooking the water. "I've been thinking," he said over wine, "about our arrangement." Lena's heart sank. Here it came, he wanted out early. She'd known this was temporary, but somewhere along the way, she'd started hoping. "I want to tear up the contract." She looked up, unable to speak. Cole reached across the table and took her hand. "I want to start over. No contract, no terms, no expiration date. Just you and me, figuring this out as we go. If you want that too." "Cole." Lena's voice shook. "Are you sure? We've only known each other for 3 months. We started this for all the wrong reasons." "We started this because you needed saving and I needed redemption," Cole said. "But somewhere between the fake smiles and the public appearances, I fell in love with you. The real you. The doctor who works 16-hour shifts because she actually cares about her patients. The woman who stood up to Janet without flinching. The girl who gave a sick kid a sunflower and told him to grow toward the light." He squeezed her hand. "You saved me twice, Lena. Once when I was 7 and again when I was 33. I don't want to let you go." Lena felt tears streaming down her face. "I love you too. I think I have for weeks now, but I was afraid to say it. Afraid this wasn't real for you. It's the realest thing I've ever had." Cole stood, came around the table, and knelt beside her chair. He pulled out a small box, not the rushed platinum band from their wedding day, but a stunning ring with a center diamond surrounded by smaller stones. "Lena Foster Madison, will you marry me? For real this time?" She laughed through her tears. "We're already married. Then will you stay married to me? Forever?" "Yes." She pulled him up and kissed him, not caring about the other diners or the cameras or anything except this moment. Yes, yes, yes. The small house on the coast was nothing like Cole's penthouse. It was a modest 3-bedroom cottage with a garden, a wraparound porch, and a view of the ocean. Cole had bought it 6 months ago as a surprise for Lena, a place where they could escape the city, the company, and the endless obligations of being a Madison. Today, the garden was full of sunflowers. Lena stood among them, her hair longer now, her face peaceful in a way it hadn't been a year ago. She wore jeans and one of Cole's old shirts, her feet bare in the grass. Cole watched her from the porch, coffee in hand, feeling something he never thought possible: complete happiness. "You're staring," Lena called without turning. "Can't help it. You're beautiful." She walked back to him, plucking a sunflower as she came. "Remember these?" "How could I forget?" Cole set down his coffee and pulled her close. "You gave one to a sick kid and changed his entire life. I just gave you a flower. You did the rest. You gave me hope. There's a difference." They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the waves crash against the shore. "Grandpa Joel called," Lena said. "He wants us to come for Sunday dinner. He says he has news." "Is he okay?" Cole's concern was immediate. Joel was 85 now, and though he defied his doctor's predictions, he was still fragile. He sounded good. Strong even. "I think he just wants to see us." He wants to see you, Cole corrected. You're his favorite. It was true. Joel had taken to Lena immediately, and their bond had only grown stronger. She visited him weekly, playing chess and discussing everything from politics to medicine to family history. Joel had even insisted on walking her down the aisle at their second, real wedding ceremony, a small, intimate affair with only friends and family who actually mattered.
We should go, Lena said.
I want to talk to him about something anyway. About what? She smiled mysteriously. It's a surprise. Joel Madison's estate was as impressive as ever, but it felt different now, warmer, filled with laughter instead of schemes. The old man sat in his favorite chair, looking more vibrant than he had in years. Cole suspected Lena's medical interventions and lifestyle changes had something to do with it, though Joel claimed it was pure stubbornness. There's my favorite couple, Joel said as they entered.
Come, sit.
We have things to discuss. Cole and Lena settled on the couch opposite him. First, Joel said, the legal matters. Janet's trial concluded last week. 3 consecutive life sentences, no possibility of parole. She'll die in prison.
Cole felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sadness.
Just closure. Good. Jason sent a letter, Joel continued. From Switzerland. He wants to apologize, make amends. Says he's in therapy, working on himself. I want to know if there's any way back into the family. No, Cole said immediately. But Lena touched his hand. Maybe not now, but someday? People can change, Cole. He looked at her, this woman who'd been betrayed and humiliated but could still believe in redemption. If you think so, I think everyone deserves a chance to grow toward the light, she said softly. Joel chuckled. That's why you're my favorite girl. Now, for the real reason I called you here. He leaned forward, his eyes twinkling. I'm updating my will. Effective immediately, you're both co-owners of Madison Enterprises. Equal shares, equal votes. Grandpa, you don't have to, Cole started. I know I don't have to. I want to. You've proven you can run the company with integrity. And Lena, he smiled at her. You've proven you can keep this stubborn fool honest. Besides, I've decided I'm not dying anytime soon. Got too much living left to do. Lena laughed. I'm glad to hear it. Because I was hoping you'd be around for something important. Oh, what's that? She glanced at Cole, then back to Joel. To meet your great-grandchild. In about 7 months. Silence. Then Joel started laughing. That deep, joyous laugh that made him seem decades younger. Cole just stared at Lena in shock. You're pregnant, he whispered. Found out yesterday. I wanted to tell you with my family. She turned to him, suddenly nervous. Are you happy?
Cole couldn't speak.
He pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Happy? Lena, his voice broke. I never thought I'd have this. A real family. After everything. You have it now, she whispered. We both do. Joel wiped his eyes unabashedly. Well, this calls for champagne. Or sparkling cider for the mother-to-be. We're celebrating. 6 months later, the cottage was filled with baby things. Lena was on maternity leave, spending her days reading medical journals and decorating the nursery. Cole worked from home as much as possible, unwilling to miss a moment. They'd learned they were having a girl. What should we name her? Cole asked one evening as they sat on the porch, Lena's hand on her swollen belly. I've been thinking about that. Lena looked out at the garden where the sunflowers grew tall and bright. What was your mother's name? Rebecca. Rebecca Madison. Lena tested it. Becca for short. What do you think? Cole's eyes were suspiciously bright. I think my mother would be honored. The baby kicked, and they both laughed. Cole put his hand on Lena's belly, feeling his daughter move. She's strong, he said. Like her father. Lena covered his hand with hers. Cole, do you ever think about how we got here? How did one terrible day lead to all this? Every day. Do you regret it? The way we started. He thought about it seriously.
No.
Because if Jason hadn't left you at that altar, I never would have stepped forward. We might never have found each other. And I can't imagine my life without you now. Me neither. Lena leaned her head on his shoulder. You know what's strange? I actually feel grateful. Not for the pain, but for what came after. For finding out who my real family was, not the Fosters or some biological connection, but you. And Joel. And this little girl. She touched her belly. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best destinations. Like growing toward the light, Cole said softly. Exactly. They sat in comfortable silence as the sun set over the ocean, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Hey, Cole. Thank you for marrying me that day. He kissed her temple. Thank you for saying yes. The anniversary party was held at the cottage, despite Joel's insistence on something grander befitting a Madison. But Lena and Cole had been firm. Their home, their friends, their way. The garden was full of people. Medical colleagues from Lena's hospital. Business partners of Cole's. And at the center of it all, 3-year-old Becca Madison, running through the sunflowers with her great-grandfather Joel slowly following behind, both of them laughing. She has your eyes, Jessica, Lena's former maid of honor and now best friend again, said, watching the scene. But his stubborn streak. God help us all, Lena said with a smile. Cole appeared at her side, handing her a glass of wine. Speech time. They stood together on the porch, and Cole clinked his glass for attention. Thank you all for coming, he said. 3 years ago today, I made the best decision of my life. I married a woman I barely knew, for reasons that probably seemed crazy to everyone watching. Laughter from the crowd. But here's what I've learned, Cole continued, looking at Lena. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take a chance on something that seems impossible. Sometimes you have to step forward when everyone else is stepping back. And sometimes, his voice softened, sometimes the person you save ends up saving you right back. He raised his glass. To my incredible wife. To 3 years down, and forever to go. To the woman who taught a sick kid to grow toward the light, and then spent the next 26 years proving that light was her all along. To Lena, the crowd echoed. Lena stood, her eyes shining. I'm supposed to make a speech too, but Cole kinda stole my thunder. She smiled. So I'll just say this. 3 years ago, I lost everything. My fiancé, my adoptive family, my reputation, my job, everything I thought defined me. And in that moment, when I was at my absolute lowest, a stranger offered me his hand. She looked at Cole. You gave me more than just a way out. You gave me a partnership, a real family, a daughter, a home. You gave me the space to become who I was always meant to be, not Samuel Foster's charity case, not Jason Clark's respectable wife, but just me, Dr. Lena Madison, mother, wife, surgeon, and apparently, keeper of the world's most stubborn man. Cole laughed along with everyone else. So thank you, Lena finished, for that terrible proposal. For the fake marriage that became real. For every moment since. Here's to growing toward the light, together. They kissed to applause and cheers. Becca ran up, demanding to be included, and they scooped her up between them. Joel made his way to the porch, slightly out of breath but grinning. That's my family, he announced to anyone who'd listen. Best investment I ever made, letting that boy marry that girl. You didn't let me do anything, Cole protested. I made that decision myself. Sure you did, boy. Sure you did. Joel winked at Lena, who just smiled. As the party continued into the evening, as friends laughed and toasted and shared stories, Cole pulled Lena aside. Hey, he said quietly. Remember what you said to me in the hospital? When I was 7. Grow toward the light, Lena recited. Everything will be okay. You were right. Cole cupped her face gently. You were my sunshine then, and you're my sunshine now. And you're mine, Lena whispered. They stood together in their garden full of sunflowers, their daughter playing nearby, their family and friends surrounding them, their future stretching out bright and endless. The wedding that wasn't had led to the life they never knew they needed. Sometimes the worst day of your life is actually the first day of your real life beginning. Sometimes a stranger becomes your home. And sometimes, if you're very, very lucky, you find someone who helps you grow toward the light and who grows right alongside you.